So it's been a while. A few things right off the bat, brace yourself. I'm advertising my social media pages today. Yeah, I know, I'm turning into one of those YouTubers. I'll try to make it fast, just relax. This video was brought to you by a bunch of dudes on Patreon. Check it out. I've added new perks like the ability to see videos a few days before they're released here, and I've also started giving everyone donating the chance to play with me every Sunday. We'll see if it sticks. I also have a Facebook and Twitter page, and neat, I also have a Twitch account. It's never used. Follow them all. You don't want to miss revolutionary tweets like... And now that that's over, let's get into the guide. Bloodseeker is an interesting beast. He's a hard carry, semi-carry, a backline bandit, a glorified 7th item slot for the true hard carry, depending entirely on what the enemy picks. He also counters Slark and Timbersaw, and that's sort of a bit more important right now. Blood Rage is the greatest spell in the game, almost. The fact that it's owned by Bloodseeker takes away all of the charm, because if Blood Rage belonged to a hero that could do all of his damage from 600 range or so, the potentially game-losing negatives to the spell just disappear. With that in mind, we're going to add something long missing from this section, ally combos. You'll notice a trend with every single one of them. Blood Rage, self-casted, however, is a different issue entirely. Sure, it's still 140% damage amp, but it's 140% damage back as well. Bloodseeker's tier 1 counters are there because they'll kill you with your own spell. Dota buff has its own matchups, and this guide's the first time where my matchups aren't really the same. Maybe it's because of how we're playing here and how it's so out of the left field. The big, if you're playing ranked, use your ban on this hero is Tinker. Doesn't need to move, yet still elusive and has more than enough burst damage to kill you before you can even reach him. Other people in this tier of basically immovable objects are Wraith King, Storm and Ember Spirit, Legion Commander, Brewmaster, Morphling, all those guys who basically drop the idea of running away and reenact that thing from Braveheart. Tier 2 counters are anyone who could burst you down in an instant, usually without letting you hurt them back. People like Tiny, Troll, Oracle, Tusk, Pudge, that sort of thing. And the tier 3 counters are just the worst. 1,000 things have to happen before you can even see one in your game, but when you do, you'll notice, because these are the heroes who both build blade mail, are tankier than you, and who can take a lot of rupture damage as fast as possible. Centaur with Stampede, Pudge with a Force Staff, Spirit Breaker charging, and Weaver, who by all accounts we should counter, and we do. It's just if for some reason he dropped to Lincoln's and picked up a blade mail and some health items, he'd counter you back. But that's getting into some weird territory of telling non-Bloodseeker pickers how to counter the guy for whom I'm running a guide. So maybe I'll do just that. For anyone not interested in playing Bloodseeker but who hates going up against him, check the final segment. Here is the timestamp. On the flip side, everyone knows Seeker's qualities. Rupture destroys mobile heroes, Thirst destroys invis heroes, Bloodright destroys all spell-based heroes. It's no wonder that all three together counter the top tier. Bloodseeker is the anti-free win because he counters Slark, Timbersaw, and Weaver. Usually. Second tier is anyone who likes to move at all. Quap, Anti-Mage, Mirana, Spirit Breaker, and I mean, there isn't a hero who just spawns at Fountain and doesn't move until the end of the game. Everyone's got to move sometime. And other than that, Bloodseeker's just sort of there. Maybe he'll win, maybe he won't. The heroes he's up against don't really matter past those mobile guys. The only thing that matters is how you play. So let's make it as on point as possible. Bloodseeker and Wisp have a lot in common. You pair up Wisp with any frontliner who wants insane attack speed and damage reduction, and you pair Bloodseeker with any backliner who wants insane damage amp without fear of being hurt back. Let's say, just putting it really simple, that Bloodseeker's most important abilities go Blood Rage, then Rupture, then Bloodright, then Thirst, at least for when comboing with another hero. So Bloodseeker's most brutal ally combos go any ranged hero with a ton of damage, so half the pool. A Death Prophet is my personal favorite. Exorcism melts through towers when Blood Rage is on, and 140% damage on Crypt Swarm means one cast nearly kills a full creep wave means she gets all her life back. Clinks comes in a close second, and then Drow. Lena's good, Necro's super fun. You'd only need to get a guy to about 75% of his max HP for Scythe to instantly kill him. Rupture combos are the best though. They might not win a game right from the picking phase like these other ones with Blood Rage, but they'll make the victim wish there was a concede button, so that's always good. I've been playing Dota so long that the only thing that keeps me sane other than these guides right now is knowing that someone on the other team is having a worse time than me. Ever since Bloodseeker was given Rupture, people tried conceiving ideas on how to make people move with it on. In the jungles of 1k, Bloodseeker goes 4-staff. At 5k, he simply gets paired up with a Disruptor for an insta-gib with Glimpse. There's also Skewer, Meat Hook, Toss. All of these spells can move a hero over 1,000 units, and Thirst's good for letting your allies see in detail how much the guy they ganked was very much not killed and going back to base. Subscribe to this guide on Steam, or I'll die. Or better yet, don't, and put me out of my misery. A warning before we go into this, we're doing the balls deep Bloodseeker build tonight. You could just get 2 levels of Blood Rage like a little bitch, but we at the EdgeCo Institute of Eternal Envy endorse builds aren't about playing it safe. And that's actually true. EE watched my Medusa guide on stream once without saying a word, and with the video not showing. Pretty much gave it a ringing endorsement. So the build goes as follows. Blood Rage level 1 and 3, Max Thirst by level 7, Rupture at 6, 11, and 16, Bloodright everywhere else, the last 2 levels of Q at 13 and 14. Blood Rage we want at its second second level as fast as possible. Level 2 Blood Rage's cooldown and duration are both 10 seconds and can be up 100% of the time. Thirst we max out because it's a static amount of damage it gives, potentially 200 damage before 10 minutes in a game, and the means to chase people down with that damage before anyone in the game is farmed. A 4-star for Blink, any way of escaping Bloodseeker's parched throat. Blood Rate gets monumentally easier to land after Rupture, and not landing it is rewarding unto itself. In general, people will gladly take more damage moving a Rupture to avoid Blood Rate's damage and silence. Think of it like they're children who know you want to be hit by the silence, so they blow raspberries and take a massive lunge forward, spilling their guts and viscera all over the place, and then coughing and sputtering up their final breath. I counted you. Before dying to you. Trigger warning, there'll be a lot of maths in this next section. Go to this timestamp if you're scared. Blood Rage amplifies all damage types, but amplifies for only half the value when the target's 2,200 range away. The oldies will know that that's directly because of the Zeus Bloodseeker combos of yore. Blood Rage does not amplify damage that's classed as HP removal. You guys remember HP removal, right? The spell type that was removed from the game, remember? Well, it's still here. Basically, any ability that insta-kills something. Midas on creeps, Bloodstone on user, a bunch of spells on illusions, all of it HP removal, and also it wouldn't do anything with the damage being amped anyway because you can't kill a guy more. So this is completely irrelevant information. What a stupid guide. Thumbs down, 1 star. I kid, there are actually spells that cost health to cast, like all of Phoenix's abilities, Soul Ring, Armlet. That damage doesn't get amped. And the big one that comes with this, Blade Mail. Because of the way the new Blade Mail works, if Bloodseeker Blood Rages himself and has Blade Mail on, let's say Tinker lasers him for 320 pure damage. Bloodseeker takes 448 damage and returns 320. Blade Mail seems awful, right? In that context, yeah, but well, what if we amp Tinker? Something you'd want to avoid at all costs, but let's just do it. Yay! Now instead of laser leaving Tinker's barrel, dealing 320 and arriving and amping on impact, it leaves dealing 448. In layman's terms, that's pretty much what's happening. And all of a sudden, we're returning 448 damage back. Blood Rage doesn't heal you if you kill illusions, Roshan, or structures. Bloodseeker struggles against illusions as it is, so I think I personally think it would be a nice buff for him to actually be able to heal off of them, even for like a smaller percentage, considering they take more damage and like are easier to kill. I know Ice Frog watches these because I am Ice Frog, so super mega ultra add this please, Valve. With that in mind, yet again, denying units heals you. Units like creeps, summons, and your ever so helpful Crystal Maiden.
Hey, Sven, what happened?
Blood Rage gives health back to anyone in the equation. You have Blood Rage and kill someone, health back. You don't have Blood Rage and kill someone with Blood Rage, health back. And this one's actually a first to me. This is an interaction I've discovered that nobody else seems to have. It's not on any wikis. Put your Blood Rage on yourself and your target, kill that target, and you get healed twice. You get double the HP back. This is unspeakably useful. It's great for jungling, especially with Ancients of incredibly high HP. It's great for in the middle of the fights when you're low, have Blood Rage on yourself and need as much possible health back to get out again. And also with 2 Blood Rages, you deal 180% damage. No big deal, right? And finally, it amps damage from mines and wards if you're taking the damage. We're about a quarter way through the section, so I don't know, get popcorn or something, we're gonna be here for a while. Blood Rite takes 3 seconds to activate. The game says 2.6, but there's the 0.4 cast time too. This spell can be cast from 1,500 units away, and its own radius is 600, so it can potentially reach a target 2,100 units away, I think. It also gives 200 flying vision in just the center of the spell for 6 seconds. I don't know why either. It's probably useful for finding jukers or something. Also, it silences. Maybe I have to mention that? I don't know, it's written. Thirst, at 1 level in, completely disables the movement speed cap of 522. Still picking up a haste rune gets you to 522, and nothing gets you over that. It's really confusing stuff. Other than that, the spell pretty much does nothing until a hero is below 75% HP. After that, you get 1 attack damage and a 1% increase of movement speed for every 1.25 missing health on anyone. At 25%, it stops adding more, but in compensation completely reveals them, true sight included. This bad boy is why you can never play armlet toggling Huskar like I mentioned in my guide over a year back. This is the only thing that'll stop me from playing Huskar, and if you've ever played against my Huskar, you'd probably want to avoid it at all costs. So here's a guide for it. Here's a guide to completely crippling my guide. Awesome. 5 enemy heroes under 25% HP give Bloodseeker 200 damage. 10 enemy heroes under 25% HP give over a Divine Rapier's worth of damage. But how is such a thing even possible? Simple. Just pick Bloodseeker into a team that has both Meepo and Arc Warden. I'm sure that team pops up every other game, right? Also, at that point, the movement speed you get matches Sniper's projectile speed.
You wanna see me run to that fountain and back? Wanna see me do it again?
Rupture checks how far the target's moved every quarter of a second. You can salve through level 1 Rupture by taking teeny tiny baby steps to make sure every instance of damage isn't high enough to break it. This will never be useful. I'm padding the video again. You can also travel more than 1,300 units in between checks and it won't count as damage. This is actually useful. Puck can do this. Quap can barely do this. Storm Spirit, Morphling, and any other hero that's immune when using their traveling spells don't take any damage anyway, so if you want to be super cool, you can blink and immediately use yourself so the damage tick happens when you're invulnerable, like so. Or you can just do what I do and walk through Rupture at the Bloodseeker. Your confidence might scare him off. A guy once told me you can't predict the future, so there's something to be happy about. Bloodseeker's build is nebulous until after the laning phase with about 6 different paths you can take. To begin though, pick up an Iron Talon. Oh, yeah, I guess I forgot to mention, this is a jungle Bloodseeker guide. I didn't want to infuriate people right at the start, so I withheld that information until right now. We have money for tangos, but just an Iron Talon, maybe wards and a courier if you have to. Iron Talon's damage is amped by Blood Rage, ergo a creep taking a Blood Raged Iron Talon to the face is instantly half health. Because we're jungling and taking extra damage from creeps half the time, a Stout Shield is the first thing we buy and we immediately courier it off to ourselves. Aha! You thought I suggested to buy a courier for the team, didn't you? Nope, nope. It's completely for us. It just happens to also bring in commends and all that because the team is thinking we're doing something selfless. Our boots of choice are phase boots, specifically because chasing's the aim of the game, and although treads work wonders for attack speed to boost the damage we get from thirst, phase boots work better with Echo Saber, and we'll touch on that in a bit. Personally, I go the Blades of Attack first, then boots to finish, but there's more damage at the cost of no movement speed. If they're hunting you in the jungle a lot, do it the other way around. And then we pick up a Windlace, because the static movement speed gets calculated before percentage, basically meaning instead of our 290 base movement speed Bloodseeker, all of a sudden you have 310. This is crazy useful for when adding the bonuses Thirst gives you. You'll notice our inventory is getting filled up fast. The core item we pick up every single game is Echo Saber, and as tradition with these stranger guides, it's time for me to go, let me explain. Let me explain. Echo Saber's stats are great, everything's used by Bloodseeker, especially the mana regeneration, which brings Bloodseeker to regenerating more than enough mana between Rupture cooldowns to instantly cast Rupture again. Why we pick it up though, also completely paints the style of game we play as Bloodseeker, a hit and run champ. Get in, do as much damage as possible in as little time as possible, and get out. With Echo Saber, all the damage we accrue with Thirst plus phase boots is instantly doubled, and because of the slow and phase boots choice, we can run people down with it before they can regroup with allies who could pop us in our 140% damage amped state. Build it with Sage's Mask into Oblivion stuff first, the mana regen's the best part of its build up, and carry plenty of TPs. And now we're 6 slotted, yay, that was fast. Well, GG, except we've got ages before the game's over. So, you will absolutely drop most of these items as the game goes. The priority list goes as follows. Shield is the least important and is only really useful for those 2 or 3 minutes of jungling without damage. Drop that first, then Iron Talon, then Windlace, then TP Scrolls, only after we've gotten Travels. And now we have our 6-pronged road, and to fully elaborate on this, we're going to have to do the unthinkable. We're going to have to pretend that we're losing. In order of pickup frequency, we can get Silver Edge, Ags, Solar Crest, Sanjin Yasha, Dagon, and Maelstrom. Silver Edge is what we're going to be hoping you'd need to pick up. In theory, it's the best thing for you. It's an item that lets you deal more damage to your opponent and makes your opponent deal less damage to you. If that description fits an item you're thinking of, just know that it's definitely a viable Bloodseeker purchase. Silver Edge also lets you hit and run with more potency, and against your Slarks and Timber Swords, it's another way of just crippling them. Ags is something I'd get every game sooner or later. It effectively sets Rupture's cooldown to 20 seconds. Rupture, a spell with a duration of 12 seconds, remember that. It also means you can neuter 2 important targets in the first seconds of a fight, and if they've got a 4 support 1 carry yeah, I know, but basically, hypothetically, it could happen. Then you just Rupture the carry twice for 24 seconds of a pseudo disable. Solar Crest, another item that fits the description above, is vastly more defensive, and I'd pick it up if I've been relegated to the position 3 role. Blood Rage will carry, then supplement it with Solar Crest and hope for the best. Word of warning though, don't go into a game wanting to buy Solar Crest. Solar Crest is not what a Bloodseeker hopes for, and buying it when there's still the option of getting a Silver Edge or Ags means you're willingly bringing your potential in this game down. And then there's Sanjin Yasha, which is just a Silver Edge alternative to a game with Zeus, Bounty Hunter, Slatter, and 50 Century Wards in each enemy's inventory. And even then, Silver Edge is still fine, even when they can see you invisible. The passive's still there, make the decision yourself, which one would be better. Dagon's the fun one, and I just wanted to see Modest. I'm sure if you watch this guide and go for Bloodseeker, you'll be stomping so hard that a Dagon's in every game purchase, I'm sure. And then there's Maelstrom, for when there's far too many summons for your single target Bloodseeker to cope. Maelstrom's great because you can just stumble into heals with Blood Rage because of the impromptu bounces. And late game items are all defensive. We've got enough damage by now to deal with anyone. The items we build henceforth just keep us alive to deal that damage. BKB, Assault Theorist, Butterfly, Skadi, Shiva's Guard, and also Boots of Travels, especially if you hold on to your phase boots at this point, you can reach speeds of about 1,000. And then there's Bloodstone. But
I'm only buying this because it has blood in it.
Bloodseeker is hard, like really hard. Sure, he's easy to play at a normal level, but there's this massive hurdle when you want to play him at 5k and higher, where you have to fundamentally change the core aspects of how you play him. In the average game, you can get away with amping yourself and running headlong into the fray and hoping for the best. And good, it means anything you kill gives you health, and if you die and heal them, no big deal because you won't die, right? But when you get this high and try to pull that, you're instantly the #1 target and stun locked to oblivion. So you've got to play it smart. Imagine this. You, your target, no one else. Amp whoever you want. Scenario 2, you, your target, your team. Absolutely amp your target. Every team member deals 140% damage. This is also applicable to Roshan. And then we have you, your target, your team, their team. And that's where I can't tell you what to do. You have to just know within milliseconds. Some pointers would be if it's a support, them. If it's a hero who deals no damage or a single target damage, them. If it's a blade mail carrier, them. If it's an Earthshaker about to Echo Slam and your entire team's grouped up, well, I hope you'd know without me having to tell you. In a general team fight, the person with the Blood Rage icon above their head is absolutely the hero that becomes the prime target. So we make sure it's not us as much as possible. I'm cresting near 6k MMR at this point, and every Bloodseeker game is a nail biter of will I rampage or immediately die? There is absolutely no middle ground. But before that, let's talk laning, or I guess the lack thereof. This will absolutely be the most tedious part of your Bloodseeker match, because we spawn, buy Iron Talent, and then just wander around, I guess. We can't contest the rune that well, we can't block creeps, just, I don't know, go cut some trees to pass the time. Hope that you're on Dire for this because it's so much easier. Start with the medium camps for both sides, making choke points where you can, and also pass that streamline that camp to camp journey. Only ever Iron Talent when Blood Rage is on, and the same goes for getting a last hit. If you're taking too much damage, just amp the creep you're killing, and now you're only taking extra damage from that one. What we have going for us in jungle is enemies can't keep track of us. To keep that going, I personally stay away from the camps closest to the lanes and hesitate to leave jungle to get runes, especially if you know that they've got a ward there. We get level 6 around minute 6 with this, so make the choice to immediately gank mid or safe lane. Do not choose to carry on farming. Whichever is guaranteed to get a kill is the place that you'd go, and now we're unleashed. Jungle when Rupture's down, Rupture when Rupture's up. Before initiating on someone, check their inventory. 90% of the time it'll be for TP scrolls, and that's a good habit to get into, but you can also check for Dagons and Bashes and Gems, especially when running in headfirst with Shadowblade. This continues with a bit of pushing towers and team fighting up until you've got your Silver Ridge. After that, prime your Q on yourself, go invisible, and attack your target after Q comes off cooldown. You now deal 180% damage to him because now you can put Q on him, and you still have it on you, and he deals 90% damage to you because of the Silver Ridge active. It's really good for pickoffs, and super good if all of a sudden at 20 minutes you've also got a Dagon 5. But at that point, I don't really think you need a guide on how to play Bloodseeker. You're better than me. So let's just go on assuming you're winning team fights and moving on to pushing. With level 4 Blood Rage, you can have it on 2 people all the time. Make sure it's the 2 people who deal the most damage and towers melt. All you really need is about 10 to 20 seconds of their core being dead, and that's a tier 3, and 20 to 30 seconds of their core dead, and that's a lane of Rax. So yeah, neat. That's Bloodseeker. High risk, high reward, fun to play, awful to play against, and logically, the best way to not play against him is to just pick him and play as him every game. So enjoy that, good luck, and have fun. Like a few seconds ago, I just said it was awful to play against. I know the pain. I think every player in the game knows the pain. Bloodseeker was the reason I learned that S and H stopped you moving, just out of necessity. So, always buy a wand if he's on your lane. Blood Rage counts as a spell, and he's always casting it. When he tries Blood Rage, I understand it's hard to outdeny him, but try. And also deal as much damage as possible to him in that time. You win the lane when he gets to 20% of his health, and knows if he misses the last hit what he runs in for, he dies. So that's the area you want him to stay. Never buy Lincolns against him, even if all the pros and all the official guides and the wikis tell you it's good. Beastmaster does not have a way of breaking Lincolns. Doom does not have a way of breaking Lincolns. Bloodseeker has a way of breaking Lincolns on a 6-second cooldown with massive range. You might surprise the Bloodseeker once, but after that he just pauses, Blood Rages to pop shield, and then ruptures you. For the same price, you can get things that you can use to survive the rupture afterwards, like Blade Mail, Shadow Blade, Ghost Scepter, that sort of thing. Blood Rage is dispellable, and so is the silence from Blood Raid. Yours is really good against Bloodseeker. Mant is great too as a more aggressive answer. He Blood Rages you, he Blood Rages himself, you dispel yours, and now you have 3 units dealing 140% damage to him, and because he's single target, he doesn't have a quick way of finding out which one's the real you. Unless, of course, you ruptured beforehand. That sort of ruins the strat. Silver Edge is also really good against Bloodseeker, as is any item that amps damage and reduces damage for the user and target, respectively. Bloodseeker's greatest allies are also his worst enemies, turns out. And a special few tips for Slark players. I don't actually know why I'm willingly doing this, but here goes. Keep backup salves in your inventory for when you hit Thirst Vision threshold, and if you're feeling really adventurous, pick up an Armlet. At level 6 with just Armlet on, you have 1000 HP, and the drain from Armlet is completely nullified by your passive regen as long as they can't see you. And they can't see you if you've got more than 25% HP, which is what this does because it gives you 450 HP, and you've got 1000 HP. That is more than 25%, I think. Or maybe Armlet's an awful item for Slark, and I'm trying to trick people into picking it so I win more games as Bloodseeker. But would I really do that? Well, that was the longest guide I've written in a while. It sort of makes sense that it'd take this long to animate, but tune in tomorrow for a 7-minute drow guide. Oh boy! In reality, I've been gone a lot because I've been prepping for TI6, and this month I've been working on short film entries for the TI6 short film contest. I made a video called Pure Skill, and I helped Maxivest2D with a video called Lanaya is Mine. Pure Skill didn't get through. Lanaya is Mine did, so yay! They're both gonna win first place somehow, I'm sure. Those short film entries kept me busy, but before that started, about 4 or 5 guys were written and nearly fully animated. I'm hoping to shoot them out before TI, but if not, they'll honestly come a few weeks after TI wraps up because I, like everyone else who attends, will be suffering from post-TI depression. It's a thing, it's a real thing. After that though, I'm fully into finishing this guide so I can beat the inevitable 6.81 patch that renders them all null and void, and then after that I'll make about 50 more. So there's the future. There's something to be happy about. If you want to request a custom guide in that time, become a pledger. This guide was brought to you by these pledges: Brandon Koo, Christian Ryder, Free Kill, Matt Master, Spartan Wolf, Pearson Newborn, Lucas Kokon, Sailor Moon, Brandon Kinney, Shadow Sweetheart, Jacob Miller, Aaron Tang, Evil Motherfucking Jellyfish, Michael Robb, Hatcrafter27, Martin Thoreau, Adam Sienna, Sinduin, Parker Burakoski, Lord Herbert Ninny Bottoms, Max of S2D,
Snuggly Wuggums,
John Boone, Joy Deludens, Yabbis McGee, Milo Cott, Grumpy Bear, Wings, Tsunami Shadow, Rhett Mitchell, Chestnuts, Redolus, Kerrison, Schwing, and Epica wanted me to change my name into a fucking long one to annoy Edge, so a special thanks to that guy and his unfortunate name. So yeah, just to reiterate, Facebook stuff, Twitter stuff, I know you're probably a bit worried about me filtered through 140 character limit when it takes 20 minutes for me to tell you that Bloodseeker is pretty neat, but just do it. Follow them all, and this marks the first and probably only time I'll advertise social media links this much. I ain't about that life.